Okay, beautiful. Well, welcome everyone to Instinct, my free masterclass here on connecting us back to our intuition and that um, raw primal instinct that we all have within ourselves. The reason why I am doing this masterclass today is there's so much kind of going on out in the world. The most potent thing that we can do is really use our intuition to guide ourselves to discern what's meant for us, what's not meant for us, and help us get out of our heads. Because a lot of times we are stuck in our heads, unfortunately. It's part of the human condition, and really just get back to who we are and what's best for us. A lot of times, everything that's going on around in our world and society, there's just so much noise, and it's easy to get distracted or get caught up in it and begin questioning ourselves. And when we do that, we often come out of alignment and maybe start making some choices that we feel that we need to instead of feeling what's actually good for us. And so I just kind of want to bring us all back to this stage today of really feeling into our intuition, what that is, what that means. And then towards the end today, I'm going to go ahead and guide us through a meditation to connect you specifically to your power animal that is specific to your intuition. We have power animals for so many different things. We usually have an overarching one, and then we have different power animals that can come through for a variety of different areas of our lives. So today we're going to set the intention of really connecting to that specific power animal, to your intuition, so you can connect back to that essence of it. So whenever you do feel kind of caught up in all of life and the chaos that comes around us, you can focus on your animal and help guide you back to your intuition a bit more. So for those of you who are here, some of you may already know obviously what intuition is, and some of you may be kind of uncertain about it. So I'm just going to go over some basics today just to cover everything with our intuition. So intuition, really what it is, it's our internal compass. It's our guiding point to where we go in life, what path we're meant to take, what choices are meant for us. And it's that really deep inner wisdom within. It's really our soul who is trying to speak to us with our intuition. And so we just have to quiet the mind and quiet everything else outside of ourselves to hear our souls calling to us sometimes. And that can be hard, especially when we do live in a world that is, there's so much noise, there's so much technology, and with where we are at in society right now, there's so much disconnect even between humans ourselves. And when we're disconnected with other humans, we're definitely usually also disconnected from ourselves. So it's really about bringing ourselves back to that wisdom and guidance that we already have within ourselves. We just sometimes forget to listen, or haven't actually listened to it in such a long time because we've been so conditioned to listen to everything outside of ourselves to tell us what to do, where to go, what decisions to make, how to live, right? So we want to come back to our truth. Our truth is what's always going to help us live in alignment with ourselves and have us live a more fulfilling life. Once we stop listening to our intuition, oftentimes when we look at it, myself included, I looked at life and I was just like, there's got to be more than this. There has to be something more. I was just so into like people pleasing and had no boundaries. And I was just doing what I had to do to survive. And there's so much more to life than that. We want to thrive in life. We don't want to just survive. That's very soul sucking. And so it's really about coming back to that peace because our soul knows, it already has the answers. It already can tell us exactly where we want to go. And while sometimes it's really uncomfortable and really freaking scary, it will never steer us wrong. When we get into our head, that's when things start to get a little finicky. Sometimes we wobble a bit, or things maybe might not come in so easily because we're listening more to the mind than to our soul. And when we do that, because our mind so desperately wants to keep us safe, it wants to feel like it has that control, that we start causing resistance, unnecessary resistance in our life. So, really coming back to our intuition, connecting to that deep inner wisdom within, listening to that, even when it's scary, even when it doesn't make sense, it will always lead us down the right path. I love this question here. So we have a question. Let me get it pulled up. Sorry, my chat box is taking a moment. What's the difference between anxiety and intuition? How do you tell the difference? Beautiful. With intuition, yes. Those feelings sometimes can become hard to discern between the two. So, really, with anxiety, anxiety is when you will start to feel it up. Everybody feels it kind of different in their body. Mine is for sure in my chest. Some people get like this really gut, like just clenching. I wish I had sounds to make it better. But like you get like this knot, like, oh, like almost that sort of feeling. Or it feels like your heart's beating really fast and it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. Like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And when you start to feel more of that, and I'll go over this as one of the practical ways to kind of tell the difference between the two, but it's really key on becoming aware. It's building a muscle. Everything that I'm going to be going on today is going to be building this muscle. It's not going to necessarily drop right in right away. It's being aware and connecting to these steps to really help build that muscle, build that memory, because we have operated in one way for so long. We have to unlearn that way and start building a new way to operate from. So anxiety is more of when we get too into our head and all the fears start coming in, all the what ifs start coming in, all the shoulds come in. There's so many things that start just going through our mind, running through our mind on repeat in loops. If we're noticing those loops, oftentimes that will be a key component of like, I'm a little too into my head. It's making me anxious. I'm getting a little scared because I'm uncertain. And with more intuition, intuition is where you feel almost like that pull. So you might have a little bit of that uncertainty and like, oh God, should I do this? Should I not? But you feel so pulled to do it. That is your intuition speaking to you. So intuition more is you have just this knowing, this pull, this desire to do something, even though you can't explain it. And anxiety is more of a, oh God, what do I do? Should this happen to do this? Like, do I follow this route? Where do I go with this? That's the mind. So intuition is really this feeling, this pull. Anxiety is more of the getting in the head, wanting to control things, wanting to feel really safe in your body. So that's kind of the difference between the two. Does that kind of make sense? Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Great question. Now with our intuition, we have blocks. That's a lot of life. The main things are getting caught up in our tasks instead of listening to what our body is like calling for us, pulling us towards. Well, I've got to get this done. I have to go to the grocery store. I have to cook the meals. I have this to do with work. Tomorrow we have a party to go to. We have an event on Saturday to do. We often get so focused on those tasks that can actually start blocking us from our intuition. We want to complete things. We want to get things done. We want to check things off our list so we can feel relief. I've been there so many times. That's how I lived like 42 years of my life. Instead, what we can do is, right, I have all of these things to do. I'm just going to sit with it for a moment, because we get so caught up in the society with just go, 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 do. We forget that by slowing down and taking a step back, we're actually going to move a lot faster. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but For an example, used to happen to me all the time, trying to lock my door, my front door when I take my dog on a walk. My key wouldn't work. Oh my gosh, just work, just work. The more that I tried to force it and make it happen quickly, the longer it took. Literally every single time, this is no joke. Is this one of those things where I feel like it's like shit you can't make up? When I take a step back and I'm just like, I breathe and I'm like, right, okay, just you'll lock when you lock. The very next moment, the door would lock completely easy. And I was just like, okay, this is me causing more resistance and stress than what needs to happen. When I slow down, I take my time, it goes quicker. I even did it this morning, literally putting on my pants, like trying to hurry up and rush through. I almost fell on the floor because I was trying to rush so much. The moment I was like, Wendy, what are you doing? Okay, slow down to go fast. The moment I slowed down, easily got completely dressed and I was out the door quick. So oftentimes we just get so caught up in completing the tasks and doing, which can be part of that toxic masculinity piece, right? Like that's how society has conditioned us. Go, 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 do, hustle, hustle, hustle. No, take a step back. Right. I have these tasks to do. What has to absolutely be done? Perfect. Okay, I'll do that. If nothing absolutely has to be done, check in with yourself. How do I feel? What do I need? This morning, I had some things I wanted to get done, but I was so exhausted and my body was desperately asking me for rest. And I had all of this pent up energy I could feel in my shoulders. They were like cement, right? What I need right now is I need a rest, I relax, and I need a cry. So I put on a movie I knew I was going to bawl. Sometimes we just need to slow down, step back, right? What absolutely has to be done for sure. And if there's nothing, beautiful, what do I need to do right now? When we start getting back into our body, we start connecting more back to the intuition piece, and then we can move forward in a way that's so much more supportive. After I did that this morning, like literally all of my energy came back and I was able to actually complete stuff and I had still time left. So it's just really reminding ourselves if we have things to do, beautiful, but let's go about them a different way instead of just like, I need to get this crossed off my list so I can feel better. You're not going to feel better. You're just going to feel more pent up. You're going to have more anxiousness that comes up and your body's going to be exhausted. So this is how we connect back a little bit more to our intuition. Another thing that blocks us from our intuition is getting stuck in the mind. Again, kind of those thoughts that can come with that anxiety piece of, oh, I need to get this done, or, oh, this is how I should do things. This has to happen. When we start using kind of those words of this has to, I have to, should, all of those sorts of things, those are kind of like keywords and red flags. I'm thinking, I'm not feeling, because intuition is all about feeling. The thinking part comes kind of after to help support that feeling piece. So when we're getting caught up, we have those incessant loops that are spinning around in our head that will completely block us from our intuition. Because again, our brain, our ego, it wants to control things because by controlling, it makes our bodies feel safe. But our bodies end up actually feeling exhausted and we're usually moving on a place that's not really in alignment with ourselves. So really when those thoughts start coming up, that's when it's good to notice, right, perfect. If you need to write it out, brain dump out, do so. So it's at least out of your head and onto a piece of paper so you don't have to think about it anymore. And then come back to yourself again. Right. Does this really matter? Does anything really need to be done about this? What do I actually really think about it? Coming back to our instinct and our intuition is often, again, slowing down. Key, slow down, come back to ourselves, get out of the head, and feel in our body, what are we really wanting? Um, and then the other block is simple conditioning that we've had from society, from things we've told of how we need to be, how we need to show up, what we need to do, impressions that we've been put on by our own family, maybe even our friends, even generational stuff, right? That's come down to us from our families. All of that stuff can often feel like this is how I have to operate. This is how I have to be. This is how I need to show up. Okay, that's how we've been conditioned. How do I want to show up? What do I want to feel? What can life start to actually look like for me? Is that really what I believe? This is where we start to get curious and get to start questioning some of these things, not out of disrespect or anything for anything that's come before us or how we've been previously in our life, but it's really more about finding what's our truth, what feels really actually good to us, what's actually in alignment for us. And that can be really, really hard to do. I myself struggled for so long. Like, even in motherhood, I had to figure out a new way of being because for so many years and generations before me, well, this is how you raise a child, and this is what you need to teach them, and this is how they have to be, and this is how they show up in the world, this is how you show up in the world. It's a lot of pressure. And the beautiful thing is we get a choice. We often don't feel that way, but we get the choice to put all of that down and be like, right, this is how I was raised. This is what I was shown. This is what I taught. But is this, again, what I believe? Does this feel good to show up in this way? Or do I want to show up differently? Oh, yeah, completely. I love this. Yes, trauma disconnected me from my intuition and invalidation completely because we think from all of that stuff that's passed down from family or society, like we feel like, well, that's not how I'm supposed to show up. Like that's so then we invalidate our feelings and what feels good to us because we feel like, well, I have to follow the rules. What rules? We feel like there's so many rules that we have to show up and be in order to be a good human being, right? And be a contributing member of society. Well, it's really all bullshit. It's just an illusion, but we don't realize that. And so we have to start breaking some of those beliefs. And it's hard, especially when there is so much trauma, right? Like I had a lot of trauma from childhood. There was a lot of abandonment, there was a lot of neglect, and there was a lot of abuse. And so it was completely learning, right? Do I really want to operate from this energy, or do I want to do something different? And does that really make me a bad person? Or does that make me more informed and more supportive and more loving and more nurturing? What does that do, right? But I love this piece here because trauma does disconnect us from so much because I saw it. That's why people please so much. That's why I did everything under the sun to make sure everybody else was okay, and I neglected myself. The person who, it's so funny when I think of like the abandonment, the abuse, the neglect that I had from others, I was actually my worst offender because it's just what I knew. And so I made sure I did that to myself and made sure no one else tried to feel that way. So it's kind of interesting how we can either project things out or because we really don't want others to feel that way, we do it to ourselves instead. So yeah, the trauma piece is real. It is so big. And that is another block. I love that you brought this up here because it is the trauma that we receive from even in adulthood, not just childhood, right? We have experiences all through life. Like I will not stop healing and growing and evolving and learning my lessons until the day I am in the ground. Like that's the last of it, because um, we are constantly having new experiences, and those new experiences, depending on what it is, can start a whole new trauma, just depending on what that is. So I love that you did bring this up, because trauma will make us question ourselves. It will make us completely disconnected from ourselves and our intuition, and we don't trust ourselves. So it's really about building that trust back up and realizing, you know what, no, I've got this. I can do this, and just slowly chipping away at that, and unraveling all the different layers to reconnect back to our intuition, because it is hard. And even those of us that have a strong intuition, so the moment that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to teach this class, because I was just seeing some things that were making me very unsettled about what was being broadcast out into the world. And I was seeing it actually causing harm to some people. And that didn't sit right with me. So that's why I wanted to launch this class. And so the moment that I did, I started learning some deep lessons about how much do you actually trust your intuition? Are you ready to follow it or not? Because even with things that I connect to, like with spirit, super easy, a spirit would come in and I would literally start questioning myself. Well, is this female or is this male energy? Well, is it, what is this doing? Like, I could not for the life of me decipher when typically it comes in, boom, it's this, boom, this is the message, boom, all of that. Like, literally, I could not understand for the life of me what was what. And so it really took me coming back to myself, really leaning into that trust, because trust is key with your intuition. Again, a muscle that we all have to build to be able to discern and figure out when you've got this. Just trust your instincts, go with your gut. So going with your gut is always going to be a good indicator you're connecting to your instinct. What does intuition look like? Feelings, thoughts. Beautiful question. So intuition. So a feeling of it, the thoughts piece, that's where we have to be a little bit careful. Thoughts comes after the feelings. So with intuition, gosh, this is such a great question. So let me think on this for just a second. All right, let me close my eyes. Intuition looks like when you are following a pull, like this need to do something, to say something, to go somewhere, to act on something. Like you just feel this need to move in this specific direction. There's no rhyme or reason. It comes out of nowhere oftentimes. And through that, even though you might feel a little uncomfortable and kind of be like, oh shit, do I do this? Do I not? When you take that breath, this is just what I need to do. Follow that feeling. And you start trusting in yourself, knowing that that's exactly where you need to be guided. So the feeling is more of this pull, this, like, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to do this. I don't know why, but like I feel like I really need to go this place. Like an example, driving. Um, you're going, let's say you're going to the grocery store, right? There's 3 different routes that you can take. Instead of going your normal route, for whatever reason, you're like, God, I feel like I need to go down this route for whatever reason. No rhyme or reason. I just feel like I need to turn right instead of going left. And so you turn right, you go around that way. And then when you come back the normal way you typically go, and you see a car accident. By you going that way, you possibly just helped yourself not be in that car accident. So it's really this pull of just knowing to go and do something different, or even a knowing that I just feel like I need to do this. And then a thought will come afterwards. Now, if it's like, oh, should I go this way? Should I go that way? You're in your head. That is not your intuition. That's you analyzing things and figuring out, is this what I do or is that what I do? So, really, that feeling piece is just, it'll come up with a pull and then you'll just have this thought. Is this making sense? Ooh, yeah, this is how you built your self-trust, is testing out these pulls. Yes. And that's exactly it. Because a lot of times, even when we're stuck, we're deeply connected to our intuition, there are going to be things that knock us off our rocker and we need to come back to it. So it is literally going through these different sort of things like, oh, I feel I need to do this. Okay, follow the string, see where it leads you, and then check in with your body. How is it feeling? Always coming back and checking in. And sometimes, like, you'll see the reason why. Like, ooh, maybe you decided to go right, and then there was all of a sudden traffic if you would have turned left instead. And like, you got in, you got out, perfect, beautiful. There was something else that I wrote down here. Even like things of, this sounds really good tonight. Like, I really want to eat this. I have no idea why, but I want to eat this. Again, that's your intuition kind of speaking to you. Oh, now it feels like flow for you. Yes, beautiful. That's the thing. Because when we start building this trust, when we feel a pull towards something and we start following that string, then we're following the intuition, and over time we build that trust, we build that muscle. So we just are like, we get this nudge and we just know, right, that's my intuition, like that's it speaking to me, so I'm going to go with that. So I think that's kind of almost that, what does the intuition look like? It's a nudge. It's kind of almost like this feeling that you can't explain why, you have no idea where it came from, and you just follow that. So it's that nudge, and then whatever thought comes after that, you follow that. Beautiful. But if it's that, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? Do I do that? You're not in your intuition. You're definitely in your head. So I love that you're feeling that flow now with your trust, because trust is definitely key. One thing to start thinking about too, with your intuition, not only like being in your head and those thoughts of, do I do this? Do I do that? Where are we people pleasing? Where are we doing things because we feel that we should do that? So, oh, I want to make them good. I want to make them comfortable. Like, can we just do whatever needs to be done so that this is all good, so that I can feel good in my body? That's also going to kind of block us from our intuition. Instead of being like, I can see that they need this right now, but what do I need? Is there a way I can support that feels good to me and could be helpful to them? And if then that comes up, it could be a kind of a thought then, right? Of like, oh, well, I could go ahead and do this. Again, it's a nudge, it's this feeling, and then the thought comes. Follow that. And then that's actually going to be more supportive for you. And it's going to be more supportive for the other person. Because when we move from our intuition, we're moving from more overflow of energy versus a depletion of our energy. And when we deplete our energy, everyone else around us can feel it, and we're not as supportive. So that's one thing we always kind of want to be mindful of is, are we people pleasing? Are we in our head? And then also, what are we trying to control so we can try and keep ourselves safe? Are we trying to make sure, well, if I do this and I do this today, like everything will be okay, and then I can come back and I can rest and I can do what I need? Where are we trying to make things controlled so that our body feels safe? We can feel safe when we're in our intuition, and that's also the muscle that we have to work on building, the trust, knowing by following the intuition, following what our nudges are, following that feeling, that flow. That's actually what's really going to make us feel more energized, feel more safe, and start trusting in that, for when some of those more bigger nudges come that might feel a little bit more uncomfortable or feel like, oh shit, can I do this? I'm just going to do it anyways. When we start building that, our bodies can feel safe knowing that we'll be taken care of because we are working in our highest alignment and our highest truth at that point in time. So it's really, we want to come back to that piece, work on that. So the biggest keys really with intuition that are very practical steps to get you come back, connect to it, especially if we are rattled. A lot is going on around us and we kind of get knocked off our center. The first thing to anything, no matter what, for intuition, for where we're wanting to go, just healing work, no matter what, the first key to anything is always going to be awareness. If you are moving through healing or you're trying to connect to your intuition, but you don't actually have awareness of what's going on in your body or what's going on in your mind, it's kind of a mute point. Like you might kind of get there, but you won't fully get there. So the first thing we always want to do is have awareness around where am I at in my head? What thoughts are swirling around? What's completely coming in? And the other really big one, how am I feeling in my body? How does this feel right now? Where is there some maybe anxiousness? Where is there some fear? Where is there anger? What's coming up? What am I feeling? From there, once we have that awareness of everything that's kind of going on within our heads or in our bodies, we can figure out, okay, am I in my head? Am I needing to like bring those thoughts back down? Or is there so much anger here that I need to release it? We want to reconnect back to our breath. Our breath is key. It is our life force. It is the first thing we do when we come into this world, and it is the last thing we do before we leave it. Ooh, I love this. What if I struggle to get into my body? What can I do? Beautiful. So what you can do when getting back into your body, I always recommend stop everything that you're doing. If you can, take 5 minutes. If it's 2 minutes, that's all you can do, that's fine. We want to take at least a little bit of time. Stop what you are doing, sit down, close your eyes, because when we have our eyes open, we are distracted by everything around us. Even if we're like, oh, I've got great focus, when we close our eyes, it's much easier for us to connect back into our body. And then we want to connect to our breath. When we can connect to that breath, that can help us really come back into what's actually going on in our body. So there's a few different breathing exercises I really like. I'll go ahead and go through those with you really quick. You decide what works for you. I have my own that I really like. And sometimes I kind of play around with it. Like if one's like, this is not working, this is not getting me into my body, I'll try a different one. But everybody's different. So everybody has something that really works for them. But I do like there is box breathing. So you can breathe in for 4, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and then hold for 4 counts. And then just repeat that until you feel really calm in your body. Because the key to being back in your body, you need to be calm. If your breath is really labored, you're breathing fast, your heart's beating fast, you are not in your body. You are more in your mind. So we want to bring back that calmness, that centeredness, tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, and that will help us bring us back in. Another one I recently started doing was I put the tip of my tongue to the roof of my mouth right behind my teeth. And I just breathe in and breathe out, putting the tip of my tongue to the back of my teeth. I found this one recently because I have a lot of like almost ADHD mind. I'm in like 50 different directions at once. That tip of my tongue to the back of my teeth actually is putting like a focal point for me to focus on, which was really interesting. So that is one that I've liked to do. Just make sure your breaths are slow, because if you're still doing that, You're not tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system. So we really want to slow the breath down. Another one is just really taking slow, deep breaths in. I do like to do a 4 count in of breathing in through my nose. I also breathe in through the back of my mouth a little bit, like so I can expand my belly more. And then I hold for 6, and then I slowly exhale for 8. That's one of my really go-tos that connects me usually into my parasympathetic nervous system super quick. So that's one that I like. And then another one is just really, as you are breathing in, if my mind is going too much, I'm like, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Because if we are really in our head, sometimes that breathing, we have to actually have something going on up there to quiet the rest of the noise. So those are just some different breathing exercises I personally like. Everyone else has kind of their own. If you want to look some of that up online, there's so many different resources for breath work, but really closing your eyes, taking a moment, knowing, hey, like everything else just has to stop right now. It's not life or death. That's okay. And really breathe. Get back to yourself. Get back to your breath. And the more that you practice this, the quicker you're going to get back into your body by simply breathing and doing one of those breathing exercises. I have been working on my breath for 6 years, and I can get myself in a very, like, there can be a lot of chaos going on around me. And within 15 seconds, I can get myself completely calm in a very neutral state. And once I am in that neutral state, it's like my instinct turns right on, my intuition comes up, boom, this is what we've got to do. So it's really calming the mind, calming the body, connecting back to the breath, because again, that breath is our life force. When we can connect to the breath, then we can start asking ourselves different questions like, okay, what am I feeling in my body? And boom, something will come up. We're not going to analyze it and be like, okay, well, what do I need to do with this? Okay, perfect. Like, I'm anxious. Got it. What am I anxious about? I have a to-do list of about 50 things. Okay, perfect. Breathe again, breathe out. Is all of it necessary to do? No. Okay, boom, perfect. And the more that we can just really connect to the breath, ask a question, the first answer that comes in, take it as it is. Don't need to analyze it, accept it, breathe again, ask the next question. That's how we start also building that muscle of really connecting to our intuition and listening to that versus the mind and getting back more fully into the body. But it's very important if we're trying to do things as we're doing this breath work, that's not going to work. Really stop, slow down, take a minute, close the eyes, connect to your breath. And again, the more that you do this, the quicker it's going to respond to you, which then gets you the results probably a little bit quicker where you're actually wanting to go. So I love that question. So we have awareness, we reconnect to our breath, and then we do start asking those questions. Simple, short, doesn't need to be long. Take that first answer, accept it, and move on with another breath. Ask the question, get the answer, perfect, beautiful, not analyzing it, another breath, ask the question, move on. So it's where we start tripping up in our mind and start getting away from our intuition is really when we start analyzing. Okay, well, I need to do this, but how do I do it? Do I go and do I do it now? Do I need to call Sally to help me with that? No. Come back to ourselves. Simple is key. The more complex we make it, the more we invite our brain in, the less we start dampening the noise of our intuition that's trying to speak to us. So simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. When you ask those questions, go ahead, come back, check in with your body. How did this feel? Intuition is all about that feeling. How does this feel in my body? Does this make alarms go off? Or does this be like, oh, okay, I can do this? Or is this kind of like, oh shit, makes me a little nervous, but I feel like I still have this nudge. I have this desire, this need to go through with this action, whatever that is, right? Like, um, one example for you recently, and this is kind of a silly example, but it's just one of those things with social media, trying to be able to help more people and in a way that feels really good to me because I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of social media. Sometimes it feels really hard to connect to people. And I was trying to figure out what do I do. And podcast kept kind of like coming up. I had a podcast a while ago. It was okay, but wasn't really feeling it. And then all of a sudden it kind of dropped in like, just do a YouTube channel. Like I was doing my lives on Instagram and it was like YouTube channel. Like you just talked for 22 minutes about who knows what. Like, why not start a YouTube channel? And so I sat with it and I was like, is this what I feel like I should do? Or is this something that I want to do? Like, and it wasn't necessarily like, ooh, I really want to do this, but it was kind of like, you know what? Like, this kind of feels exciting. Like, this feels like this could be something. Is it a little bit scary because I'm putting myself outside my comfort zone? Yes. But try it. What do I have to lose, right? If I don't like it, okay, beautiful. I learned what I don't like, and then I can stop doing that. I can stop putting my energy into it. But just coming back to the body and being like, how does this feel to me? Does it set off alarms? And I'm just like, oh God, no. Like, or is it like, okay, yeah, this is awesome. Or the other piece too, it can be like I said, that, oh, not so sure about this, but I kind of feel like this could be something, right? That's another way to go ahead and move forward. Um, and then, absolute key, as we talked about earlier, trust. Trust to move forward, that you already have the wisdom within you. Your soul already knows. Like you are already a brilliant being. You have all the information you need to know. We just sometimes don't know how to access that. And so accessing that is really about coming back, trusting ourselves. And maybe sometimes this happens where it's like, well, that didn't work out at all. But I learned a huge lesson from that. And that's amazing. So sometimes our intuition, it's taking us to things we need to learn. It's not just like all light and rainbows and everything's great and beautiful and like, ah, that's not always it. Sometimes it really is like, you want to go here. That's great. But guess what? We have to learn this first. And this is going to be the best, most supportive way for you to learn this lesson so you can move where you're wanting to go. So there is always that piece too. Because we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always evolving. And sometimes to get to the next step where we want to go, there has to be a lesson that we need to understand so that we can really embody this next level that we're wanting to go into. So just to kind of recap those quick points to get back into the intuition is your awareness, being aware of what's going on in your mind, what's really going on in your body, stopping, sitting yourself down, closing your eyes, connecting to your breath with whatever breath work that looks like that works really well for you. Try a few different ones out, see how they work and what you like. And if it's not working, what you typically like, try something new. Sometimes we have to bring something else in. Once you have felt calm and centered, ask those questions and first answer. We're not analyzing, we're accepting the answer that comes in. We come back to our breath, we ask the next question, allow what comes in to come in. Check back in with your body. How is it feeling? Are there alarms going off? Is there like tightness? Is there excitement? Is there kind of like, this feels a little unsteady, I'm not quite sure where to go? Check in, see how does your body feel. Again, this is all going to be stuff that is muscle memory. So it's really building that muscle and figuring out how to deeply more connect to your intuition. So it does take a little bit of time. Give yourself grace, and then just trust yourself, which is one of the hardest things to do as humans, especially when we do have that trauma from the past, right? It's like, well, nothing served me up until this point. So why do I think what I'm going to move forward is going to actually work? Here's another perspective. Nothing else has worked from everything outside of ourselves externally. So why don't we take a chance on ourselves and trust ourselves first for once and see if maybe that gives us a different outcome? So that's something to think about. Um, and then one thing for sure, I definitely wanted to touch up on about too, which I kind of spoke about, is really those red flags. Discernment is key when we are connecting back to our intuition. And say there is, I'm just going to use this example because this also came up recently. There's a class that shows up and you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this class. Like, does this work for me? Does this not? Do I feel like this would be a good fit? Do I not? Just really sit with it. And if you are in that class, we'll sit with it first and be like, this is interesting. I think this is something that I want to do. Do those keys of checking in with your awareness. Are you thinking you should do it, or do you want to do it? Is that something you feel like, oh, this sounds interesting, or like, oh, I should do this to get myself ahead? The shoulds will always, again, be a red flag. Connect to your breath, see, is that something that I want to do? And then trust yourself to move. Now, if you are in said class and it doesn't feel right, there is something you just can't tell what it is, but it just does not feel good, feel free to remove yourself. It is not, well, I'm not completing the task. Like, I'm not showing up for myself. I'm not following through. Putting guilt on yourself for not doing something that doesn't feel good. We're not doing that anymore. We're stopping that from here on out, because sometimes it is a way for us, because we could come back and be like, well, my intuition said, like, I can't trust my intuition now, right? No, maybe this is a way for you to more deeply trust your intuition. Maybe this is getting you into this class and you're just like, this just, I don't know what this is, but I just don't feel good. And like, you kind of want to move around. You're just like, no, like there's so much. It's not like, ooh, this is pushing me past my comfort zone a little bit. It's just like something does not feel right. I don't know what it is, but I don't like this. Trust your instinct, trust your intuition. This could literally be something for you to throw you into the depths of something to see, are you going to trust it, or are you going to stick around and possibly cause more harm to yourself, right? Whether that be coming from energetic harm, whether that be coming from like putting thoughts in your head and you're like, oh God, now I need to do this and I need to do this and I need to do this, putting you back in that toxic masculinity, whatever it is. Trust yourself. If something feels off, there is a reason. You have that internal compass that's trying to tell you and get your attention, your soul saying, hey, this is not, no, this is not feeling good, not liking this. Okay, guess what? We're just going to go ahead and bow out and then watch what happens. Because sometimes when we do that, more things open for us that are actually better fits. So that is one thing I really wanted to speak about is using that discernment when you feel alarms going off in your body. There's a reason. Trust that. Have no guilt or shame over it, no judgment. Beautiful. It's telling me this is not for me. I'm going to remove myself. Beautiful. And that's building that trust even more and more. That's something we definitely want to do, because there is so much going on out in the world right now that I've seen. And there was even a class that I had attended. I was gifted this class and I went to this class and I was like, just something just doesn't feel right. And I learned really quickly, are you going to trust your intuition and get out of the class, or are you going to stay? So with the class, I did end up staying, but I ended up having a different lesson from that came, which was quite beautiful. Because there was no harm. It was just kind of like this just doesn't feel quite right. I don't understand quite what's fully going on. And at the end of it, I saw the whole picture of this is a way for you to trust yourself, what you're here meant to do, and how you're meant to lead. So it was a lesson for me. Um, Trusting that it'll work out is definitely challenging. And then second guessing my intuition sometimes completely. Yes, building that trust. It is like a daily practice, sometimes a minute by minute practice, honestly, some days of really trusting in ourselves. And so this is where we can have fun exercises of I play this game. It's kind of a silly game, but I play this game and I absolutely love it. So when I go out, because I work from home, when I have to go out, I'm like, okay, like what route is going to give me all the green lights? Um, when I come to the store, what aisle do I need to go down in the parking lot that's going to give me the closest parking space? Like having fun with it, because oftentimes too, we get so serious about things, and we want to get it right, right? Because then that proves to back to ourselves. It gives us that validation that we're right, that we're connected to the intuition. So sometimes what we have to do is just have fun with it. Remember that it gets to be a game that we can play of learning how to trust ourselves in a more fun way. So we're taking that pressure off. We put so much pressure on ourselves. Yeah, it is. We take that trust so seriously. We forget to have fun with it. And then this is where we can connect to like, part of our inner child. Like, what would they like to do? Like, what would they like to create? What sounds fun to them, right? Or like seriously, like traffic and finding good parking spots are big ones for me. So just like having fun with that, right? Or being like, what aisle do I need to go down to find exactly what I need, right? Just coming up with different ways to play with learning to trust yourself, your intuition, that guidance of where you're being guided to, have more fun. Because when we do take it so seriously, we put so much pressure. That pressure puts on restriction, and then we feel we have to get it right. Sometimes we're not meant to get it right, so we can see where we weren't listening to our intuition, right? So that's even another thing too, where you could always come back and be like, well, I didn't get that right. Okay, well, where did you stop listening to yourself? Sometimes that is actually like a beautiful thing to happen, because then you can realize, oh, I got in my head there. I noticed that. Perfect. Beautiful. And move on, right? We don't beat ourselves up about it. We just take it as a lesson and we move it on. I still do it myself to this day. Sometimes, we're human. We're going to do these things. So let's take off as much pressure as we can, and let's have more fun. Like, we have so much seriousness in life. Let's just have more fun. And the more fun we have, the less pressure we have, the louder our intuition gets. But that trusting is really hard. So when it's hard to trust me, do I do this or not? Come back to, you know what? I believe in myself and my capabilities. I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to go with it, and we'll see what happens. And either way, either it's going to lead me down something beautiful, or it's going to give me an opportunity to learn, was I really trusting my intuition or not, right? So helping look at it from a different way, so it's not so much pressure on it has to be this way, it has to be this way. Well, maybe we just have to have an opportunity to learn. So really taking a step back, breathing, looking overall at the picture, allowing it to be a game, have fun with it. We don't need to make it so serious. That will start to invite more ease and flow of connecting to our intuition a little bit better. And then one thing I also like to play, I actually did this with a friend recently who was struggling through some stuff. And I was like, all right, want to play a game? And they're like, okay. So I was like, rapid fire. And it was literally back and forth. We weren't on the phone or anything. It was back and forth messages. And I was like, okay, here's the scenario. Boom. What do you see? Instant, first answer. And we just kept going back and forth. I kept asking the next question. And we went through this whole thing and ended up doing a massive healing journey for them. But it was really about getting that first instinct. So if you have a partner or something like that, start playing games like this with one another. If you don't have a partner, you have a friend, just start having them ask you like rapid questions about something, especially if you're finding yourself getting stuck in your head. First, come back to your breath, do a little breathing, and then have them just start asking rapid questions. Rapid question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. You will be amazed at what actually comes out. Because when we stop our head from thinking so much and not allowing it to make the answers, that's when we start coming from our intuition, and you might be surprised with some of the things that come up. So, that is a fun game that sometimes is nice to play with somebody else that you trust. Obviously, it needs to be somebody you trust, somebody that you feel safe with. Breathe and try that rapid fire game. I would love to hear how that would work for you as well, because sometimes we just really need that outside support to come back to our intuition. And that is beautiful and that is fine. Again, we're human. We're not always necessarily going to be able to be connected to it ourselves. Sometimes we do need that outside support. So that's a fun game I like to also try as well. Again, bring that play back into it, bring that fun. It makes it a little bit more lighthearted. We feel less pressure. And when we feel less pressure, we trust ourselves a little bit more. So the intuition piece, it takes time. Don't be hard on yourself. Even if like you're like, I'm good, I'm connected to my intuition, and you have an off day or an off week or an off month, sometimes life throws us really hard things and it's really hard to listen to ourselves. So just take those steps, coming back to yourself with the awareness, the breath, the asking the questions, checking in with your body, and then just trusting. No, again, it's just a muscle we have to build over time. And sometimes it needs just a little extra care. And sometimes we need that outside support from loved ones. So, but you've got this. You're amazing. I know that you can go ahead and start connecting deeper to your intuition. So, one thing I want to do is, again, with me, I work a lot with shamanic energy that comes in. And so I have been having so many power animals come in the work that I'm doing with myself, with clients. So for this piece, I really want to go ahead, set the intention that we are going to connect to your power animal. And this power animal is going to be specific for your intuition. So, what I really would love for you to do at this time, I'm going to get just a little bit of water here. But while I get some water, I am going to mute myself for a moment so I can clear my throat. I would love for you to get into a position, whether it be sitting or laying down, comfy, cozy with pillows, blankets, whatever that is that you need. Go ahead and get that. I'll pause the recording for just a moment, and then, all right. So just make sure that you are comfy, cozy wherever you are at. And I'm just going to guide you visually through this meditation. And again, we are setting the intention that we are going to be calling in your power animal that is specific to your intuition, so that once we are done, you know exactly if you are struggling to connect to your intuition, or even if it's just like, I just want support now anyways, as I am working towards this, we can go ahead, picture that animal, bring it in, and I will talk more about that once we're done. But we're setting the intention as we go into this meditation that this specific animal that is going to be coming to you is that to deeply connect you to your intuition, to guiding you and helping build that muscle, building that trust of your internal compass, your internal knowledge of that soul calling to you. So go ahead, And I would like you to take a really nice, slow, deep inhale in through the nose and expand the belly. And a big exhale out. Take a nice, another deep inhale in through the nose, expanding the belly. Big exhale out. Take a nice, another deep inhale in through the nose, expanding the belly. And a deep exhale out. One more nice, beautiful, deep inhale in through the nose, expanding the belly. Big exhale out. Beautiful. Now go ahead and just come back to your normal breath of breathing in and out, in and out. And as you are breathing in and out, I'm just going to bring up some white energy from around the bottom of your feet, swirling around ever so gently up your legs, around your thighs, the hips, your torso, around your shoulders, over your neck, around your head, completing up the top, going up and out. I'm going to have you take a nice deep inhale in, big exhale out, inhale in, exhale out, one more deep inhale in. And as you exhale out, I want you to sense, feel, or imagine that roots are coming out from the bottom of this white light, out from underneath your feet and down into the earth. And as you return to your normal breath, you just allow these beautiful roots to grow in whichever way they are being called and guided to grow. Just allowing ourselves to feel really supported in this space. For here we are safe, feeling the stability of the earth beneath you, and the love and the support that is here. And as you are here, I'm going to invite you to come into your heart space. And as you come into your heart space, I want you to sense, feel, or imagine that you are just sitting down here. Just taking some nice, slow, deep breaths. Really connecting to yourself, to your body, to the energy within you. Just taking a moment here to feel all the love and support in this space. Knowing you are right exactly where you need to be. Take a nice, slow, deep inhale in through the nose. Deep exhale out. One more nice, deep inhale in here. And as you exhale out, I want you to sense, feel, or imagine traveling down into your belly, into the solar plexus area. And as you are here, I want you to sense, feel, or imagine the sun beautifully beating down on your face, feeling the warmth that surrounds you. Here you are located in your powerhouse, your sense of identity. So as you are here in this space, I want you to look off into the distance. And as you look off into the distance, you notice a figure beginning to approach you. This is going to be your power animal that is specifically here for your intuition. It is safe. You are all right here in this space. The animal that is coming in is the essence of your intuition, your direct connection. And as they come in, you start to feel this familiar feeling. You've known them, but maybe you've forgotten. The connection to them may have been disconnected, or maybe it's just been far too long since you last have seen them. Whatever it is, we welcome them in. And as they are right next to you, if it feels safe and comfortable for you to do so, I would love it if you would put forehead to forehead with your animal. Feel the power within them, the strength, the wisdom. They are here to help support and guide you. They will never steer you wrong. And as you are connected forehead to forehead, this deep feeling of love, respect begins to flow through your body, allowing it to rise up and move through you. And as it moves through you, we begin to remember what it feels like to be completely connected to our intuition, our internal compass, our raw primal instinct. We knew exactly what it was when we were a baby to try and get our needs met. But as adults, we have dulled that connection. So today, we are reestablishing the connection with our animal here. Really feeling it. Knowing and trusting. Again, it will never steer us wrong. It is wise beyond lifetimes. And this animal is ours and ours alone. So I want you to take a beautiful deep inhale in here, really absorbing the energy of this animal. And as you exhale out, feeling their energy reside in your body. Again, another deep inhale in through the nose, really absorbing this connection, this energy, this instinct. Allowing it to fully feel your body. And with every exhale, it anchors in deeply into the cells, to the tissues, to your blood. It is every part of you. Open yourself up and allow yourself to receive this support, this love, this guidance. And as you are here with your animal, I would love for you to ask it just one simple question. What am I meant to know right now, right here in this space? And see what they tell you. Maybe you hear them. Maybe it's a feeling. Maybe you just know. Allow it to come through. Take your time here. If there is any other question that you would like to go ahead and ask your animal, please feel free to do so in this moment. Just remember to keep it simple and allow to come in what needs to come in. I'm going to invite both you and your animal just to take a moment here sitting down in this space right next to each other. And as you sit down, I want you to sense, feel, or imagine roots coming out from both of you into this space. And as the roots come down, they beautifully intertwine with one another like a beautiful puzzle, connecting perfectly right where they need to. Take a nice, beautiful, deep inhale in here. Big exhale out. Big inhale in. Big exhale out. Big inhale in. Big exhale out. One more big inhale in. Big exhale out. I just want you to sit here in this space for just a moment, really feeling your animal. And as the roots have intertwined, I want you to sense, feel, or imagine as if your heartbeats are syncing up with one another. Feel one another. Feel the support, the love, the wisdom, the respect, and the admiration that you both hold for one another. And anytime you want to reconnect to this beautiful, beautiful animal that is a gift to you with your intuition, help you build that trust, that connection to your inner wisdom. All you have to do is come back to this space that we have created. Call in your animal, and they will be right there waiting, willing to help you out, ready to serve and support. And if you ever need to call upon them as you are moving forward with your intuition, you can ask for their support. Take the essence that they hold, feel it in your body, and move forward as if you are one. We're going to take another nice, beautiful, deep inhale in here. Big exhale out. Beautiful. We are going to give our animal so much gratitude for coming in today, for showing up, for being here with us. We thank them for always being here whenever we need to call upon them for support, for love, for guidance, for connection. And we thank them for showing us the essence of our intuition and how and who we are within. Take one more nice last deep inhale in. Big exhale out. And whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes. Now, if you guys happen to have any additional questions, thoughts, comments, please DM me, let me know, and I'm happy to go ahead and speak further on this to make sure that you all feel supported.